Let's talk about culture. Years ago, I met a theater director sitting here with me, and he had an idea to develop a theater program that would pay tribute to the, the legacy of His Excellency President Melchior Ndadaye, the first democratically elected president of Burundi, who sadly was assassinated within 3 months. But it was also a way of remembering the victims of the African Great Lakes. So revisiting the history of 1994, genocide against Tutsis in Rwanda, and the 1993 Burundi genocide, which was investigated by the UN, and also looking at conflict minerals in the DRC and the millions of lives lost in this scramble for resources in the DRC. Why do I revisit this project? It is because, of course, we are still seeing different signs of potential regional conflict. It has been almost 3 decades that this region has known one of the most violent conflicts the African continent has ever seen. In fact, they reckon that it was the most devastating massacre since the Holocaust and World War II. Have we learned anything from history? I doubt it. But looking at the conflict of the DRC, which is a resource conflict, but there is also an element of false identities. A false identity which was developed by missionaries and explorers who first arrived in northern Tanzania, a kingdom which was known as the Karagwe Kingdom, founded by Ruhinda, a descendant of Bunyoro Kita kingdom. These theories claimed that the people who lived in this region had origins in either ancient Egypt or Abyssinia. What I liked about this particular project, A Place at the Table, it was called, is that we analyzed culture, identity, political history, and of course, the devastation of conflict. Here, you had an actress from Uganda. She is from Jamaica. She's the former Miss Johannesburg from South Africa. And we analyzed different texts, looking at the similarities in language. They were all shocked when we combined our African languages to actually see that there was a common language. That should be the way forward. Of course, we have seen different countries mediating to end the conflict in the DRC. We've seen Qatar, we've seen the US, we've seen European countries, we've seen France. But I think what is missing was to actually look at the cultural element of diplomacy. I'm very much inspired by what we have seen in the history of Karagwe. And of course, Tanzania has always been that sort of middle person that mediates on conflict. A country that also hosted refugees, but also going back to the times of Karagwe dynasty, we saw even the son of the king of Rwanda taking refuge in Karagwe and prepared for 10 years to return back, just the same way Britain did it for the king of Ethiopia when he was invaded by Italy. Of course, scanning the news that we are seeing on the African Great Lakes, but also the different military drills that we see on the southern coast of the African continent, that is not a sign. Those are not the news that we would like to see going forward. We want to rebuild the continent, creating opportunities for young people. We need less militarism in in Africa. And I think that we will do ourselves a big favor if we go back to the roots of cultural wisdom that helped our ancestors to solve problems. My hope for this year is that guns are silenced from Sudan to Mali to the African Great Lakes, and of course, for more innovative policy in southern states rather than military alliances with other countries. This is what we need less at a time when there's a risk of World War III. We as Africans must be inspired by Mandela's approach to solving conflicts. Adopting Ubuntu as our common way of silencing guns, and why not even mediate in other conflicts? So let's reflect on Ubuntu. Let's reflect on the wisdom of people like King Kalimera, the first Mangara, in his way of non-interference with regional kingdoms who wanted him to side with one side against the other. We must do better than what we did in 2025.